This is Aussie Mac Zone. We'll cover everything Apple, including Macs, iPhones, iPads, and more. All this from an Aussie perspective. Sit back, relax, and insert yourself into the zone. The Aussie Mac Zone.
Hi everybody, welcome to show 310 Aussie Mac Zone. Hopefully the audio, hopefully November 11th, that's us. Zarn, how are you?
Oh, excellent.
Excellent, welcome back.
Thank you.
Oh, you were here last week.
I was. I didn't have
the beautiful hair.
The beautiful hair last week.
Yeah. Now, one thing I don't want you to say this week is we made it, because as soon as you said that, the audio at the end.
I know.
I don't know how it was echo, like it was saying things before we'd even started saying them in real life. But anyway.
Okay, that's odd.
Must be a very smart machine. Just
it is.
Reading
it did. It reads our thoughts.
It reads our thoughts. Yep.
So, what's it? Was it called Minority Report?
Yeah.
Is that it? The movie where they predict, to prevent crime, they predict it.
Yeah. Yep.
So
yeah,
we've got Helen's watching. Hi, Helen, and Jamie's watching. Hey,
Helen
Jamie.
and Jamie, thank you.
How you doing?
Welcome aboard. Yeah, so IT Help to you this week, and Aussie Tech Radio again. Now,
also, before we start, I'd like to give a big shout out to our firefighters all across the state.
Yeah, working hard.
They are doing an amazing job.
And in Queensland, we've got friends that have been evacuated in
Queensland as well. Thank you guys. I wish there was more we could do.
Yeah.
You guys are honestly lifesavers. So
yeah. Thank you. Now also, being Remembrance Day in Australia, we'd like to remember and say thanks to those past and present who have served.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So just say thanks. Doesn't take much.
That's it.
Now, story number one. Renewable energy supplies more than half of Australia's national electricity market for the first time. A major milestone was reached in Australia's biggest electricity market this week when renewable energy supplied more than half of the grid's power. The key points are clean energy sources met most of the demand for Australia's biggest grid for 10 minutes on Wednesday. I know it doesn't sound much, but it's big.
It's a start.
It's big.
It's definitely a start, and it's fantastic.
Ideal weather made the milestone possible with strong winds turning over our
turbines,
the wind turbines. Yeah, clear skies for the sun to be pumping on the solar, and relatively cool temperatures, so we didn't all have our air conditioners going. Observers say the industry is changing rapidly and urge governments to reform the outdated energy market. Green energy sources, mostly solar and wind, met most of the demand for the national energy market just before lunchtime on Wednesday, surpassing 50% of supply for the first time.
So cool.
The national energy market provides power to all jurisdictions except Western Australia and Northern Territory, which have separate grids. Angus Gemmell, the founder and head of renewable energy firm Solar Choice, hailed the achievement, saying it showed Australia was rapidly reducing its reliance on fossil fuels such as coal. And what amazes me, just talking about like wind turbines, when you see them in England and France and Sweden where they're all offshore, it's amazing.
It's so cool. I love. There's a picture. I think it's on the the white cliffs.
Yeah.
And they've got them sitting right on those white cliffs, and then they're talking about the ones that are in the water as well, like out in the ocean, just pumping electricity. So cool.
Yeah. Now, story number 2. The Mac Pro spotted in DJ Calvin Harris's studio ahead of launch. Now, Apple Insider reported, while we still don't have any hard dates on the release of the Mac Pro, there has been one spotted in the wild at the studio of DJ and producer Calvin Harris. On November 9, Scottish DJ showed off his studio in an Instagram story. The video featured some of Harris's music alongside shots of various things in his studio. While the video is intentionally shot erratically, at several points it is possible to see a Mac Pro sitting on the floor, and it is one of the new ones. So if I come down here and just sort of show people that they're actually will watch the video, there's some 3 pictures where you can actually see a new Mac Pro on the floor working. So excellent, good to know.
This is really cool. So, if he is, well, you do, the iOS stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking of the word, but I can't. Oh, hang on. I was doing it as well, where you get it before it comes out.
Yeah, just the review stuff.
Yeah, that's right. And so
if
if Apple are giving him this technology to use, and what do you think? And he's got it hooked up and using it. Clearly, it's part of his studio, so clearly he's liking the product.
Yeah, and it must be working.
Yeah, exactly. It must be working. So hopefully, he'll be able to let us know when it's time that what he thinks and
when he's allowed to talk about it.
Yeah.
Now, Harris is known for collaborating with artists such as Rihanna, Frank Ocean, Ariana Grande, Katy Perry, Snoop Dogg, as well as prolific career as a solo artist.
Yeah.
Apple has announced that the Mac Pro will release this fall in the States, with many speculating about what the release window may be. Well, they've only got a few weeks left.
That's right.
The Mac Pro already has FCC approval, and that generally means pre-orders will start fairly quickly. That doesn't mean anything about shipments, unfortunately. But the idea is, they release it next week or the week after, and start shipping just before Christmas, hopefully.
Excellent. Hi, Karen. Thanks for watching.
Now, already, and we're only 2 weeks in for Apple TV Plus. Hello, Karen. Apple renews The Morning Show, C for All Mankind, and Dickinson for second seasons.
Awesome.
Cynthia Littleton reporting for Variety. Apple Apple TV Plus has given second season orders to the 4 scripted drama series that launched the streaming service last week. Dramas C for All Mankind, Dickinson, and The Morning Show have been greenlit for sophomore seasons.
Awesome.
Morning Show, led by Reese Witherspoon, Jennifer Aniston, already had a 2-season order and is already at work on its next season of 10 episodes. Apple has yet to release any specific details about subscribers or viewership activity on the service, which bode November 1. Sources close to Apple say the service to date has drawn millions of users who are spending an average more than an hour on the Apple TV Plus platform. It is unclear how many of those are paying subscribers rather than those taking advantage of the service's 7-day free trial. A knowledgeable source said Apple insiders were impressed by the volume of activity on the platform, which spiked by triple digits this past weekend after the fanfare for the November 1 debut. Well done. We watched a couple of episodes of Dickinson last night.
Yeah.
Just sitting here quietly after a big day, and also, of course, Snoopy Goes to Space.
Yeah, of course. more Snoopy.
Yes.
Karen says hi back. So our sound's good. If you're still watching, can you say yes or no?
Yeah.
If our sound's good, please. That'd be lovely.
Now, also, Apple releases a trailer for The Banker, arriving in theatres December 6 and streaming on Apple TV Plus in January. Based on a true story, The Banker centres on revolutionary businessman Bernard Garrett and Joe Morris, who devise an audacious and risky plan to take on the radically oppressive establishment of the 1960s. Only the 1960s, not that long ago.
Yeah.
By helping other African Americans pursue the American dream. Along with Garrett's wife Eunice, they train a working class white man, Matt Steiner, to pose as the rich and privileged face of their burgeoning real estate and banking empire, while Garrett and Morris pose as a janitor and a chauffeur. Their success ultimately draws the attention of the federal government, which threatens everything the four have built.
Awesome.
So that's one to look forward to.
Yeah, that sounds great.
And I'm guessing they're releasing it in the theatres so that they can get their weekend or whatever they've got to get in for the Oscars.
Yep.
I'm guessing. Now, don't forget, we are brought to you by Aussie Tech Radio from Aussie Tech Heads Podcasting.
Says yes, it's great.
Excellent.
Thank you. That's awesome. We're glad.
Fine. We're not allowed to say it, but
I know. It's fine.
We're not going to say it.
We're not going to jinx it.
Yeah, so AussieTechRadio.com, Aussie Tech Heads Podcast, Aussie Mac Zone Podcast, Old Fart Geeks,
Your Tech Life, Vertical Hold,
Two Blokes Talking Tech,
Apple Slice.
Geeks Interrupted. That's just have it playing in the background subliminally. I promise you'll pick something up. Absolutely promise it. Now also on the weekend, I fitted an Apple CarPlay head unit to my old PT Cruiser, and awesome. So I've used on Saturday afternoon. I was singing my heart out driving. Normally I listen to podcasts, but I had to try Apple Music again, of course, you know.
And if it's right there on your screen too, how good is that?
Yeah, and then there's a few different ways to show you maps. So I was fiddling with those while I was driving. I went from Greenacre to Wollongong, taking the car club for a cruise.
Yeah.
And I was using the maps in that for that. So had a great time. Awesome.
Excellent.
And it's the sound was good. It's a Sony unit. It was only a couple of $100.
Yeah.
And it was probably another couple of $100 for the new fascia and stuff that I had to get to go with it.
Yeah.
And having to paint it twice because I scratched the crap out of it. But anyway, that's another job. But I will have a review on it in a couple of weeks, on an unpacking one, because it's got all the new Apple CarPlay stuff in it. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Cool.
You can use Waze. You can use Apple Maps.
Oh wow.
Yeah, you can use different podcast clients for what you're listening to.
Oh, Apple Play in my car as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kellyanne holds my iPhone and plays the music I asked for.
Wow.
Yeah, technology.
So you go, hey KOD instead of hey Siri.
That's right. Yeah. I just say Matthew. I'm going to get in so much trouble for that.
Yeah. Now we don't have any gaming this week.
We don't. I'm sorry, everyone. I've been moving house. It was chaotic, so I haven't looked or touched a game. Actually, it's a lie. I sat down this afternoon, and played probably, I don't know, 45 minutes. I'm going to get corrected on here. Kind of watching. 45 minutes of Grand Theft Auto, because I love that game, and it's my de-stressor. So I did that. Yes, it's been a very, very hectic week.
Excellent.
So unfortunately, there's no gaming except for me mentioning Grand Theft Auto.
Now, an Apple Watch calls cops for unconscious driver after a crash. Police in England responded to a car accident after an Apple Watch on the wrist of an unconscious man sent a request for help. Details on the crash, including the victim's condition, were not available, but the emergency SOS may have been a first for police in Surrey, who enthusiastically posted it on Twitter and tagged Apple CEO Tim Cook. The tweet also included a string of emojis showing a watch, satellite and rescue vehicles. So, yeah, thank you.
That's excellent.
Thank you for the Apple Watch people, and
oh, wow.
Thanks for responding.
That's so good. Like the fact that the watch knows that it's where it was unconscious.
Like you had a fall, or
Yeah, and then it's sent out SOS.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
It's
wow.
awesome.
Great technology.
Awesome. So this week also, IT help to you. Yeah, keeping it simple or keeping IT simple, depends how you want to read it. So yeah, please give us a call. I had a gentleman ring up this afternoon, for example, who is a bit stressed because he didn't realise when he upgraded to Catalina he was going to lose iTunes.
Yep.
And he's been using Bitly to download movies, and he's not sure how to get how he can actually watch those movies, because he used to just go into iTunes, click and start watching them.
Yep.
So, but from what he's going to ring me tomorrow after he's checked. But from what I gather, you just go into the Apple TV app ad. You may have to do the import.
Yep.
So they end up in the right library space.
Yep.
And then so he's going to tell me tomorrow.
Excellent.
But and we've got a bit more about that Catalina changeover just in a little while. Now, Apple is now presenting its privacy policy if it were another product. Engadget reports that it's not uncommon for users to skip reading an app's privacy policy because it's too long and jumbled. Apparently, Apple wants to change that. Today it released a new privacy page that makes its privacy policy easier to read and understand. The new privacy page looks more like a product page with your standard screen and black and white text. The refreshed apple.com/privacy page uses Just a few words to describe how each app protects you for privacy. If you want to know more, you can click the plus icon and you'll get a 2-paragraph explanation. Head over to the Features tab and Apple provides even more info on privacy related to Safari, Maps, Photos, Messages, Siri, Apple News, Wallet and Health. All of the info is broken down into digestible pieces.
Excellent.
Yeah. Last week, Facebook launched a new section of messenger.com/privacy to provide clear, visually appealing info on Messenger's privacy, safety and security features. And last year, Google updated its privacy policy to make it easier to understand. As privacy and security become understandably more of a focus, perhaps Apple, Google and Facebook can encourage others to make their privacy policies less of a bore. So we can at least understand what we're getting ourselves into anyway.
Excellent.
Now, here's
Have you completely different subject? It's just made me think of like Google and Apple working together. I've got Google Docs.
Yeah.
On my computer. I've just put it on my phone. Have you worked much with that?
Only a little bit. Yeah.
I think it's fantastic. It's really easy to use, especially like, you know, if I need to write something, you know, quickly, I can get my phone out straight in the Google Docs, and I can link whoever I have in my email, thing like that, with Google.
You can share it easily.
I can share it so easily. It's just fantastic.
So Apple were going to release that when they released Catalina.
Yeah.
And iOS 13.
Yeah.
But that got pulled. Pardon me. So we haven't got iCloud sharing to that extent yet.
Yeah. It'd be great when they do. Like I said, Google Docs is good. I've only just sort of put it on my phone and was able to use it, and it really helped last week. And so once Apple comes around with the iCloud sharing stuff, that'd be fantastic.
Excellent.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
Now, a bit more on privacy. When Apple says the iPhone, iPad and Mac are built for privacy, they are not kidding. Safari Intelligent Tracking Prevention, for instance, has thrown Facebook and Instagram adverts completely off my scent. News 18 tells us, at a time when a lot of tech companies are playing fast and loose with our data on their platforms, as users we really are at a loss to find what we can possibly be classified as a mirage. Which is why when Apple says that it takes the software and hardware products with user data privacy in mind, they are actually not kidding. Across the board, the company has made a lot of improvements and additions to the whole privacy aspect, be it iOS 13, macOS Catalina, the Safari web browser, as well as a bunch of its own apps, including Photos, Find My, and the Health app, that in the iPhone and that the watch may generate. At the same time, Apple has also updated its privacy website, which we just talked about. Apple is betting heavily on what it calls private federated learning. The simple idea behind this is to not only obscure and scramble a user's personal and private information from the depths of the World Wide Web based apps and services, but to also localize the customization of the experience by learning and analyzing the user data, but locally and on the device. The way Apple deploys this is that all the processing happens on the iPhone itself, for instance, with no data ever being uploaded to a server or shared with Apple or any other app developer. The Hey Siri personalization and the artificial intelligence based features in the Photos app are two examples. The Apple neural engine in the A13 chip performs over 1 billion operations per photo.
Wow.
Which is unbelievable. To recognise faces and places without ever leaving your device, says Apple.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's just...
That's so good. Yeah.
Yeah. Is that your face? Is it your kids' grandkids' face? Is it your wife's face? Is it your naughty spouse? Like...
Yeah.
So, yeah. Like billions, but... Billions of operations. It's not. Now here we go. Have you got any other stories before I do this last one, man? Anything that you wanna?
Well, I talked about the Google stuff. No, nothing.
No.
Like I said, I haven't done a lot with the.
You haven't done anything because you've been moving house.
Moving house. So
I know.
I'm
That's
absolutely buggered. I turned up here tonight though. So.
Eventually.
Yeah, I know. I was a little late.
Sync your music onto your device in a few easy steps. Now, Digitrends reports when Apple launched macOS Catalina, it killed off iTunes for good, replacing it with Apple Music, Apple TV, Apple Podcasts, and books.
Yeah,
Because your audio books are going to books.
that's right.
Yeah. Now, one consequence is you can no longer use iTunes to sync your music to and from your Mac. But don't worry, the feature isn't gone, it's just been moved.
Yeah,
Instead of in iTunes, you now use Finder to import music into Catalina with just a few clicks. So yeah, connect your device, it shows up in the Finder in that, your favourites column in the left hand side.
Yep.
Yeah. Whereas it used to show up in the left hand column in iTunes once you'd click the little icon at the top.
Yep.
And then it would show up in that left hand column. So you connect your device. Step 2, choose your device in the Finder. Now you should be presented with a page of details for your device, including its name, how much space is available, its battery level, and below this is a list of tabs such as general, music, movies and more. Click music, decide what to sync, only sync selected content, click sync. Just exactly like you used to do in iTunes.
Yep. It's exactly the same pretty much, isn't it?
And you do your backup from that choose your device in the Finder, you do your backup there. Always do an encrypted backup with a password to remember. That way it copies every single thing off your phone onto your computer. So it makes it really easy to restore. So yeah, there'll be a link to all of that. Now, I've got nothing else. I've chucked in all those little ones I think that I wanted to mention. So our show notes each week on the show will upload, the link being aussiemaczone.com.au/this week AMZ 310. There you'll see at least 6 weeks show notes. You can email Michael or Zarn at aussiemaczone.com.au. Search for us on Spotify. I'm sure if you just say
Apple Podcast even.
Yeah, the Apple Podcast, yeah, if you like us.
Yeah.
Just say you like us. Tell your friends about it. And also, Google and Amazon, you can probably just say, play Aussie Max Zone podcast, and
it'll find it and play it.
Yeah. And now, thanks to our sponsors, this week being Aussie Tech Radio and IT Help to You, and most importantly, our supporters, you, our listeners. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Over to you for the sign off.
Again, we want to thank our firemen, being the 11th of 11. We want to thank our servicemen.
Yep.
I want to say hi to Lee from BLB Creations. She's back in business.
Yep.
She hasn't been working for a little while, but she was up at it today, and so I just want to say that's great as well. Besides that, I want to say, remember, Apple Day, keep your Androids away. Thanks, guys. See you later.